Welcome to the FMCG Guys, the podcast that dives into the innovation, strategy, and trends shaping consumer goods and retail in Europe and beyond.
Welcome to the FMCG Guys podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Torres, from a very warm summer Barcelona. It's an oven out here, but we're happy and it's the middle of the summer, so we can't protest. If you're listening to the podcast, which is probably the case, we are recording live from our studio in Barcelona. So if you follow the link in the show notes, you can watch us. And I'm very excited that we're over, I think by now, 24,000 LinkedIn followers. So we keep on growing this community. A lot of more events and exciting things coming up after the summer. So please follow us on LinkedIn to know what's going on. I'm very excited to welcome again on the show, Gael Peigné from Shalion. How are you?
Hey, Daniel. Very well. Warm as well. You remember the last time we were complaining about the rain?
Yeah.
We are never happy.
So the last time you were here, we spoke about Food Service Aggregators.
Yes.
Has that changed at all?
No, but what we see are very interesting developments. The first thing, we're talking about a continuation of mergers and acquisitions and expansion. And we see, for example, DoorDash, which has finally acquired Deliveroo, which is a big move in Europe. Also, we see Meituan, which is the leader, but which was particularly focusing on China, on Eastern Asia, Asia in general, and Middle East. And now they are putting a big foot into Brazil.
Oh.
And overall, what we see is really, we are talking, they say that they want to become super apps, and they are really expanding their services in two dimensions. One, which is more products and services. So, restaurants, grocery. Now they do also transport, all types of retail. But also vertically, where actually they help you also to book restaurants. So going physically there, providing solution to restaurants. So it's really interesting to see. And we are thinking that maybe there would be some experts of horizontal and some of vertical. And actually you see them gathering all this together. And some are partnering. For example, in Brazil again, iFood has partnered with Uber to combine their service of car transport with their service of food as well. So there is an overall servicing
it's
that
like creating
provide.
a bit of an ecosystem even. No?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And one last thing which is very interesting is actually, we are talking about the relationship between FSAs and the grocery retailers.
Yeah.
And particularly, I was telling you, Tesco, I would doubt that they want to give their full service to an FSA because they want to keep the control of their shoppers. And actually, they have found a way to cooperate together because now Deliveroo is going to do only the delivery part. So they are going to deliver, but still the ordering is going to be done through Tesco. So they are finding innovative ways actually to partner together, even if it's not that obvious. So that's very interesting.
And don't you think they'll lose some clients if they can't deliver through the app of Deliveroo and only through the Tesco platform?
Well, the thing is that Tesco can afford it because they are the leader.
Yeah, okay.
So at the moment, it's fine. But you're right, it's a good question that they are all wondering. At the moment, it seems that it's good for them, and they might at some point open to the other one.
And it's interesting, if DoorDash has acquired Deliveroo, they also acquired Wolt, so pretty big player in Europe
exactly.
now. So you have DoorDash, Delivery Hero, Uber Eats, and not much more, I think, left, no?
In terms of groups, yes, now it's some main groups. They are not always claiming the group in the advertising, so you don't see, but it's a constellation of brands. But you're right, it's a big now it's basically a market of big players.
Yeah. So that will be an interesting one, no? Because I think we'll bring also more people to the podcast to talk about from the actual players to explain more like also the opportunities for FMCGs.
There is also something I wanted to tell about this is an interesting point in terms of innovation is what they are doing in terms of AI. And it's still, I would say, it's not like completely transformative yet on a shopping experience because they are more focusing on back-end improvement. But recently there was DoorDash who was testing a service where you can order by the voice, so without using the platform, but not through a human, basically through a machine. And now they are reverting to this because it doesn't seem that the test has been working. But however, it's probably a question of maturity of technology. But what is interesting here is that you can see that they also are moving toward this AI transformation.
Yeah. And interesting that it didn't work. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a bit a case of test and learn.
Yes, exactly.
But it's true that sometimes, like, you put a prompt in and it doesn't give you what you want. No, so.
And I think probably there, it's a personal opinion. I think the real winner is when you have a combination of vocal and visual. This means that you order something, you see it on the screen, and then you can correct it according to what you see. I think that being only vocal, the problem is that the understanding is not perfect. So if you don't have this visual answer and possibility, to reselect, it becomes, in my opinion, less easy to work. And that's why also, the early days AI tools like Alexa didn't work very well.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have this feedback loop, it's more difficult to use.
Which AI brings me into the topic of today. I know it's something that at Shalion you've been working with. What are you doing?
A lot of things. But first I would say AI is quite a generic word, which, by the way, doesn't really correspond to reality because it's not really intelligent. But still, it's there are very interesting development there. And we had actually a journey with AI. And we started, like many people, experiencing that several years ago, even before it was...
before ChatGPT?
Yes,
good,
exactly.
Good.
But then it was like, we use modeling. For example, for SEO, so, the ranking of your product depends on certain parameters that you have, the quality of your PDP, your sales. And so what can be interesting for our customers is to have this evaluation of which factor influence more this search. Same for sales modeling is the same. We used to use algorithms, which are classical algorithms, multivariable algorithms, but we have been implementing neural networks into it so that it makes it a little bit more holistic and flexible. And actually, we have been continuing improving using this type of technology, for example, for semantic analysis of the reviews, to understand beyond the rating if the overall tone is positive or negative. Very useful for customers for our customers because it's not always the same. And also another one that we have been using heavily is when you have a content on the site, like your image or your description, is it in line with what you have in your PIM? Yeah. This is something where this type of AI tool, let's say, are super useful, but I would not call them disruptive. It's just an evolution of our technology with this.
And you work mainly in FMCG.
Yeah.
What is the main disruption that you can see coming?
Yeah, so the main disruption, if we continue in the AI, let's say, landscape, is of course the LLMs. Why? Because actually, you have all seen the launch of ChatGPT, and we can see that it's the most successful launch that has ever happened.
Yeah.
It was not ever made on purpose. It means that when it was launched, they were not expecting such such an increase. Yes, that was really, but they made a good job, obviously. But that was, I would say the success was even mind-blowing. And I think the technology underlying that, there are two actually that we can talk about. The first one, is the LLM. So basically, it's a possibility to access to information through conversation, and natural conversation, which is a big paradigm change, actually, in the way we consume data. And this one, what is funny, is that at the end of the day, it's statistics and a huge amount of neural networks. And so, and because the machine or the model doesn't understand your question, but it provides the right answer. Because at the end of the day, it's tokens, so they cut the sentence in several groups of characters, and basically through statistics, they are going to put the right ones. So it's the technology is quite crazy, because when you see this, I mean, how it works, sometimes you say, okay, it's a black box, I can't believe it works, but actually it works quite well, even if there are some glitches. But there is this first part, which is really the access to information and the summarizing the information that you find on the web or anywhere.
Yeah.
And there is a second one, which is really a buzzword in 2025, which are the agents, AI agents. These ones are models that have the possibility to take actions on other parts of on other tools on your behalf, on an autonomous way. And this is one which is going to really disrupt how people use these LLMs, because beyond being able to provide you information, it can also take actions for you. Example, book a travel.
Yeah.
And in e-commerce, obviously, we are going to go to the possibility to automate much more the purchase.
Interesting. By the way, I forgot to ask you. I think you changed your title since we last spoke, right?
Yeah. Now I am taking care of marketing strategy on this one. So I am focusing more on this type of topics for Shalion. So I was more in development, I'm more in research. And the objective is, all these things that are happening and that we think are really transformative into the business, we want to make sure that we help our customers to tackle them as soon as possible, because we see there are some innovation that have not picked. Like I don't know, AR, VR. There are many things, or live shopping, for example. But this one, we see tangible signs of really huge potential. So a topic like this, or FSAs, which are also a topic which is there, we want to make sure that we help and we develop the product and services that help our customers actually to tackle them.
It's interesting, no? Because there's so many developments that you could, or innovations you could be chasing.
Yes.
Do you have like a criteria or methodology to follow one or the other?
I wouldn't say it's a methodology, but we look at we basically I search for a lot of information.
Yeah.
So I track in several places what is really trending. So talking with the customers and prospects, and we try to define what is the most potential. But here today, I think the one that we have picked are really no-brainer, because we have been quite early talking about them. For example, FSA, which started talking about them again last year. On AI, we have been really AI agents. We have been starting at the beginning of this year, and we really see that. I mean, if there is a feedback loop, it means we make a presentation at an event, and you see people coming to you and saying, "Oh, that's very interesting. We are starting to work on it," or "We have not, and we are really seeing there is a potential there." Then you can see that this is a validation. So of course, it's a journey, and if we find other trends, maybe we could go there.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think we're in the right one.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess it's also a way to like generate a conversation in the industry with prospects.
Exactly. The thing is that when you work with customers, of course, they have their own issue to solve and challenges. But particularly for global holdings, what they want also is to be the people who can help their affiliates to actually anticipate the next trend. So this is a conversation they are very interested in, because the point is to improve where they are now, but also being able to help their company to tackle the next ones.
Yeah, and you talked about like these AI agents.
Yes.
How are we seeing? Are we seeing any impact for now on the way that people shop?
So there are tangible impacts in several ways. Something which is very interesting at the moment, not talking about e-commerce specifically, but in general in terms of traffic on the web, you start seeing a decline in all types of websites today, and yes, last year, and this has been actually accelerating in May again. So what you see is a decline of traffic, and why? Because actually people are starting to think that their LLMs and their agents, and their LLMs in general, are good enough to provide information without having to go to the site. So that's the first thing that we see. And why does it also impact FMCG? Is because you see the same trend in e-commerce. Now, you would tell me, okay, but today you don't really have the possibility to fully automate your purchase. I mean, we'll talk about this, but there are very few at the moment. And it's not like a broad audience. It doesn't explain this minus
It's
8%.
more recommendations for now, no?
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think that people who are going to e-commerce sites to get information, sometimes they do go for purchase, but also to look for information. For example, on Amazon, you know that Amazon is a search engine. And I think that now they rely more in their purchase process to, at least at an early stage, to LLMs to have more information. And basically, they need less to visit the site. So it's quite interesting because you see something which is quite a validation on the fact that people like SimilarWeb, which are measuring the audience in the web, see this decline. It's really a tangible sign because we're not talking about some small amount of data. It's based on really large amount.
So it's decline on traffic. Is it decline on purchase as well?
No, not yet.
So the whole customer journey is basically transforming, no?
Yes, exactly. There could be change in traffic, but it's not related to this.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a complete change in the way people will actually behave on the web. And today, I would say, if we look at the different types of applications.
Yeah, what are are there any applications that we can use?
Yeah. Actually, I would say that there are. Everybody has his own way to actually, classify them. But I would say that there are three main ones. The first one is what we would call the in-store chatbot, like Rufus in
which is
Amazon. And there is Walmart has just released theirs, which is Sparky. It's not a chatbot like what we used to have, like something. It's much better, much smarter. And basically, it's a way to provide to you a product selection based on a question. So not just keywords, but you can frame a question, put context in it, and it's going to provide to you a recommendation. That's the first one. And of course, they are going to increase the use cases. They are going to be, for example, refilling of your basket. This is something that's going to go there. But at the moment, I would say this is the main one. There is another one, which are what I would call the cross-platforms AI chat. So Perplexity or ChatGPT.
Which are retailer agnostic, in theory.
Exactly. They are agnostic of everything.
Yeah.
But Perplexity has been the pioneer, but ChatGPT is not far. And actually, to explain the experience, it's still the same chat place, but they have, according to the question that you ask, they are going to switch into shopping AI mode. So you are going to have a slightly different experience in what you find in the site. And the way it works is that basically, so you say, I need some headphones, noise cancellation for travel. You give a certain number of things to get delivered this weekend on this price range. And then it's going to make a search. You are going to have a selection of among 5 products. It's going to give you a description of why they chose this product. They are going to give you arguments for each of them. And if you click off any of them, there is a right bar which is going to open. There you are going to see your product. And you will have, so with a sort of mini PDP recreated, product detail description.
Product description page.
Yes, exactly, product description page. And there you are going to have a list of retailers with the price, and then you can click to buy. The trick is that, so today, Perplexity has agreements with some retailers in the US so that...
so they can integrate.
Exactly, directly. So you don't have to go out at all. ChatGPT at the moment is you click, you go to the site. Okay. Obviously, the straight obvious path is to go to full automation, but we are not there yet because first, there are glitches. It's early days. At the moment, they need to have agreements, but you see more and more people interested to have agreements. For example, Visa has said that now they are moving to agenting payment. So basically, they are going to be compatible with agents to enable to have this type of purchase. There are retailers which show interest. So this is going to move, but it's not live now, but you can see that they are training on this.
Yeah, that it won't take much to get there.
And there is a third one, which is what I would call the full automated agent. This one is not used a lot. An example is operator in OpenAI. This one is quite, so this is really an agent. This one, you are going to tell it, for example, here is a list of products that I would like to purchase in Walmart, in Bentonville, and getting delivered at home as soon as possible. It's going to take your list, go to the site, make the SEO for you. So basically, it's going to make the search for you, type keywords, and then it's going to find the product. Now they take the first one. So it's very important to have a good SEO and SEM because basically they take the first one in the list. And then they are going to build the basket for you. Mm-hmm. Not the payment still, not yet automated, but they can do that. And there are several use cases. Like for example, I have a recipe, find a recipe for a cheesecake for 4 persons and make the ordering for me. It can go there. It stops just at the moment of the payment, but basically it can go there. And it's quite crazy as well because that's something that's, it's very early days. We tested it, I think it was in February, and it works already. I mean, there is you can really see a path forward. The only limit is that today OpenAI offers it, but it's like for the pro users, so $200 per month. Very few people use that. Mm-hmm. But you can see also a path there, which is maybe even more adapted to food and beverage. Because the one I described before, which is the one which is the most mature, which is this shopping AI experience, and you can see it in OpenAI, but Google has announced it, Microsoft with Copilot has announced a similar solution. It's more for single purchase. You purchase products one by one. The other one with Operator, you can actually make a bulk purchase, like through a list. So it's more adapted to food and beverage, which is often a basket renewal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that Spotify said that, which by the way we had on the podcast recently, exactly. That it will primarily impact grocery and like the weekly refill content. Yes. Do you agree? Like more that kind of more predictable sale. It's quite interesting because I partly agree.
I think that on there today also retailers who work on solutions to do what you are talking about. Because basically often what you see in e-commerce in grocery is that people will go directly to their favorite on history, rebuild the list, and then remake the purchase, completing with some few things. So there are also solutions going there, and you see it's quite straightforward because you say, okay, let's take what has been done before, the list that you had before, and then you can go from there. So there is a way to automate it. So it seems straightforward, but I think the end game solution in food is not going to be this, but being able to eventually reconstitute the list and propose it to you. You can complete it with a broader list, and it's going to be able to build a list plus recommendations which are really relevant for you. Where it's a bit complex is how you are going to make this recommendation and how you make them relevant. Because it means that, for example, maybe you have taken butter, the same butter for a while, but maybe you would be open to change if you find a brand which is relatively similar and which has a promotion. So there is some additional work that has to be done to really make it super useful and relevant and like really the end game.
To agentize all that seems very complicated.
Exactly.
What if how will it know that that's something you can compromise on and something you can't?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It can generate some friction as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, you maybe you don't want to be asked for every product if there is an alternative.
Yeah.
So the right balance is going to be tricky. On the other part, which is, so what they were saying is that this part, okay, people would be more ready to do it. The problem is that I'm not sure technology is there. But then there is the other part, which are basically when you make a purchase, when you are more involved. So the one that where basically people are more willing to take control of it. People might be less reluctant to automate everything. Like, I don't know, a makeup, for example, or apparels.
Yeah.
Obviously, there, you don't want to automate everything and you have this delivered at home. So, but still, I think that these technologies can shortcut a part of the process. Maybe you won't fully automate it, but maybe at least it's going to make you save a lot of time. And instead of going into 5-6 sites, maybe you are going to first get information there, maybe make some checks, and maybe at the end still make the ordering through this platform.
Yeah. So, I do. There's a point of me that does wonder if consumers will want to adopt all these new things.
Yeah.
As also as somebody that doesn't necessarily shop online much,
Yeah.
I do have my degree of skepticism if people will actually ultimately use all these advances.
The question is time, but also it depends on categories, because food and beverage is a category where the e-commerce penetration is the smallest, one of the smallest. Why? Because today e-commerce has not fully be able to tackle its main mission, which is convenience. You know, we talked about it last time with the FSAs, which has a bit the same story.
Yeah,
and that's why, yes, there is still people who think that, okay, I have a store which is very close to my place. Instead of bothering with all these things and reordering, I am going to go there. It's going to take me half an hour, and then I go back and I'm home and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if we make it easier, and you know, maybe it's a combination of FSAs and AI. Actually, maybe there is a way that we can build a service that really justifies to use e-commerce. And what we could expect with these technologies is that actually the e-commerce percentage, and the share of e-commerce increase also in food and beverage, if we find the right way to do it.
Yeah, it will be an interesting one. Yeah. So for brands that are listening and wondering like what steps to take, what do you recommend to them?
So the first thing is there is a change. Obviously, you cannot do SEO only. It's not going to work. So there is something that now with the acronym that is the most used is GEO, which is Generative Engine Optimization. Not very far from it. I like it. There are several, and there is AEO as well, Agentic. There are several acronyms that are used across the place. I like GEO because it's easy to remind, and also it's quite close to SEO. So you can understand that there is probably a process which is relatively similar, but still you have to adapt it to the generative engines. So the GEO, it starts with, the first thing is to understand the shopper journey. So in SEO, what you want to do first is to understand which are the keywords which are used on your category.
Yeah.
And basically understanding which one are the most important for you. So that's the first thing, you know, to build your visibility. GEO is the same, except that here it's not keywords only anymore. So and how does it work? But basically it's funny because when I started working on SEO like 10 years ago, we were saying there are two steps. There are people, first they go to Google, so they understand which type of product corresponds to their need, and then they go to Amazon, and then they look at, through attributes, they could find the product that corresponds to them. The thing is that now they are both merged in the generative engine. It means that now, basically, the Google questions are mixed with the Amazon questions. We make it simple. So what it means first is that you have to understand what are these new key questions that are really important for you. There are ways to do that, because I will give you an example. Rufus, you have now implemented in the PDP of each product a list of questions which are related to the product. So thanks to this, you can start seeing, it can come from the reviews, and it's a lot fed by the reviews and the Q&A that you have on the page, but also it's basically reflecting of what the Rufus has identified as key questions. So this can give you a first understanding of what people are interested in. For example, is it for breakfast biscuits? Is it for kids? Are there some allergens in it? You know, which starts giving you tips about, okay, this type of questions are being asked, and do I have the right answers on which of my product correspond to this type of questions? You know, so you have to reformulate the question and create and basically identify which products you want to list there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, something very important here is that we made the exercise with many of our customers, and basically what we found is that you take a keyword, you have made a great SEO, your PDP is ready for that, you are well listed in the SEO, you transform it into a question, you go in Rufus, the ranking is not the same. So there is a work to do, because obviously you transform your keyword into a question, and in Rufus you have to rework on it. So it's really important really to understand that, okay, there is a specific work to do on GEO. And I was talking about Google earlier. Also, a good source now of information to define your questions is to go to Google Trends. Because then you can see there what people are asking, the question that people are asking around your category. I will give you an example. Pasta, you think about, question that you can ask on pasta is which one are for the kids, which one are good with pesto, which one are good for carbonara, this type of question that are classical. But for example, in Google Trends, it's the summer probably, that's why, but they were talking about what are the best pasta for salad. Mm-hmm. The thing is that if you don't write in your PDP, these specific pasta are suitable for salad,
you're not going to appear.
Exactly. You might appear because we'll go back to this, define some sources to define that, but if you put it in your PDP in a place that can be accessible to the agent, you multiply the chance to be selected. So that's the first thing. You basically enlarge your list of keywords plus questions on which you want to be there.
Interesting. So does SEO not guarantee visibility anymore?
At all.
Wow. Okay.
It's a good first step. It's a necessary first step, but it's not enough. And then, so based on this, all these keywords, you have to map, like in SEO, for each questions, which products are the ones you want to be the best listed, and then enrich the PDP. So at least your master PDP, let's say, that you have in your PIM, so that you really clearly answer to this question, or say, okay, this is this pasta is good for pasta salad, for example. Okay. Then there is a second step because, you have done your master PDP, but now you have to make sure that these solutions access to your information. And for that, it's going to depend. If it's Rufus, basically you are going to improve your PDP in Amazon, and then you are going to track the improvements. Knowing that it's not straightforward because, I would be honest, some people have been starting working on them and they cannot tell exactly what it looks for information. I mean, before, you were stuffing the title with the right keyword, the description.
Now it's not enough.
Well, it's not enough. It can be, there are several places in their Q&A sections, there are several places in the PDP where you can put the information. Mm-hmm. I think it's really, and you can put questions basically in a title. So you have to be more creative in where you put the information, but you have to make sure that actually they are there, and you have to test and learn, basically. So it's a loop. In ChatGPT or equivalent, I would really recommend to use ChatGPT, particularly in Europe, because Perplexity is not very used, and ChatGPT is really the clear leader. I think here there is a step before this, because basically what is going to do ChatGPT, so I told you they are making a selection of products. What is interesting is that after that, they are going to tell you which sources they have been using to define this selection. Mm-hmm. So these sources, it can be some retailer site, but also it can be some sites which are really linked to your category. So for example, recipe.
I guess even Reddit, for example.
Exactly. So that's the third one. Social as well. Uh-huh. They use it a lot. So you have to track this. Yeah. And also sites which are specialized, like for example, recipe sites. And also, it depends on the category, obviously, but specialists of your categories. And basically, then you can have a list of all these sources and start understanding where they find this information exactly and try to build an influence strategy for this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that basically you go to Reddit and you try to see how you can influence so that there are also conversation that goes into what you want to show. In the sites which are doing comparisons, you can make some press release and help them actually communicating on the benefits of your product. So that's an important step. There is a third step, which is slightly more technical, but really important, which is actually your DTC site. Mm-hmm. So you have a brand site, or sometimes you don't always have a DTC site. Yeah. It would be a good idea to have one now, if ever you don't. Why? Because basically the agent might choose your brand site to find information. And for that, there is a protocol which is called MCP, Model Context Protocol, which has been designed by Anthropic, so one of the leaders in AI. And basically, it's a protocol that enables the agent to go faster to access faster to your data. So basically, this means that you redefine your data structure so that agents can access quickly to your data. And this is basically I'm not that technical, so I cannot tell you exactly what it is, but basically it's like, the JSON structure that you have for APIs. It's a bit the same. So revising the structure of each of your product detail page which are on your site. But since now they are going to be a place when you can access to information directly, so the agents are going to access to this information, it's really key to be able to make it clear for these agents. So you have to think not only in terms of how it impacts people, but also how
it impacts the agent, and it makes you findable or not.
Exactly.
Are there any other recommendations that you would give to brands to make them more findable?
Well, these are, I would say, it's early days. Okay, so I think that you have to really focus on where we see the possibility to have tangible results. But really first, I would say, start with the pioneers. So I would say really Amazon is the first playground. And I would say ChatGPT is the second one. So focus on these ones. And really about this search, launch this process of GEO with this identification of questions, rework on the master PDP, put it in the right place. So in Amazon, in the PDP, and for ChatGPT, of course, across these different places where they can go and find the information. And really, I think that's really the most important. But what I would say beyond that is that it forces the brands to really think about their product as a solution. This is not the first time they do that. They have done that.
Well, they're supposed to do that all the time, no? But,
yes, exactly.
But it's interesting, no? Because it is more like that solution, basically, that you're answering a question.
Exactly. The thing is that now you have to make it super clear to shoppers and to agents. Because the shoppers are going to ask this question directly in the engines. So basically, you have to help the agents actually answering to this.
Yeah. Interesting. By the way, this seems like a great way to make money, no? If you give money to these LLMs and then your product appears first. Is there a case for that? Like a retail media network by the LLMs?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. There is nothing at the moment really appearing, even if I've seen some tests on Copilot for Microsoft. But this is probably a next step. And I think it raises two big questions. The first one is that at the moment LLMs, they want to appear as unbiased as possible. They want to be trusted. Okay, so this is at the moment they don't want to make advertising, but they are open to it. And even OpenAI has hired a Fijissimo, who was the CEO of Instacart before.
Yes.
Who has been developing a very successful retail media network. That's not the only thing she can do, obviously.
No.
But it's a sign that it could happen. So yes, at some point, it's all the model in internet. You are always first you build your audience, and then at some point you find a way to monetize it. So it could be a path for them. Which raises a second question, which is, okay, but if this type of actors drag audience and traffic to their site, what's going to happen and then monetize it? What's going to happen to the sites where they get the information or the product? And there is going to be probably some tough discussions about sharing this type of
the attribution,
sharing.
No?
Yes, exactly. Because at the end of the day, they both need each other. This means, for example, you take an LLM which is going to find information about a TV screen on a website which is specialized on this. Well, basically, if tomorrow this site cannot survive because they don't have enough money from the advertising, but then this means that the LLM loses the information as well. So they are going to have, and this is already happening in newspapers. I mean, they have specific contracts with several of them so that they can continue, both can continue to survive. And I think this is what is going to happen. And on e-commerce, yes, it's going to be the same. There is going to have, they will need to have an agreement about how to share across this journey, which is eventually automated between the LLM and the retailer, how the money generated by it is going to be shared between the two.
Yeah. What do you think are the next steps in that relationship in terms of time frame as well?
We see already some few things, but I would say there are two main axes. The first one is the willingness of the retailer to develop their own LLM or agent. Mm-hmm. So this is something, for example, yes, we see the main leaders are doing that, but are all of them will be able to create their own conversational experience? That's the first thing. The second one is their willingness to give their access to the agents. So, and you have different positions. If you take people like Walmart, they say, we are building our agents, we leave it open to the others. So basically, we are open to everything. You have Amazon, who says, okay, we are developing our own. And even they have developed, it's still in beta for some few people, but they have developed this buy for me feature. So basically, it's an agent on their side. They list products that are not on Amazon, they are only on DTC site. And they are able to go there, recreate a PDP for you, and you can purchase directly the product in the DTC and all in a fully automated fashion and without having to go out of Amazon. Mm. So they are also building this. So they are saying, basically, we are the go-to place.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, recently, Andy Jassy started saying, no, but we might actually open it a little bit. So it's not completely clear if they will or not. But you can see that each retailer will have to answer this question because it's exactly the same discussion we had about FSAs. Do retailers want to have
a partnership with an FSA or not?
Yes. And do they want to lose control or not? But what you might see, I think, in the coming years, sooner than later, are, for example, DTC brands appearing being agentic first. You don't need to do a website anymore. You just build a website which could feed an agent that come directly as a recommendation to shoppers.
So the shopper journey is designed for an agent and not for a consumer.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess that's already happening to some degree, no?
It's a start. At the moment, everybody has a website almost, but yes, it's going. What you have is sellers, actually. That's what you see directly on marketplaces. But they could have even DTC site independent and just optimized for agentic.
Yeah. No, I can. That will make sense. How do you think it will change, business and how people access platforms?
Well, this is actually a question that we have internally in Shalion, and we have many hot discussions about this, because if you put yourself in the place of a shopper, and we are all shoppers, actually you could find two ways to think about it. There is a first one, which is to say, okay, when I do a purchase, I want to go to a specialist for this.
Yeah.
So I go to Amazon, even if it's a broad specialist, it's a specialist, but I want to buy something which is about tennis. I go to a retailer who is really specialized into sports in general, and eventually even tennis. So you go and you decide actually to go directly there. There is another way to think about it, is to say, people more and more are relying on LLMs, and they have developed a relationship with the LLM which is beyond work and efficiency. You know that today the number one use of LLMs is actually therapy. It means that people use LLMs to...
As a doctor.
Yes, exactly. Doctor, and also emotional, managing their emotions and managing their psychological issues. And the second thing we see is also many people saying we want actually LLMs to help us in the shopping purchase. So in the surveys, you see that this is ranking quite high. An example is travel booking. Because the problem is that you spend so much time on travel booking about finding the right hotel, the right flights, that if this can be more automated, people would welcome it. So you can see that there is a willingness to rely more and more on these tools. So this could be a match between, or I go to the LLM and I trust it for everything, and this becomes my really concierge service for everything, or I go by myself on the retailer side. I cannot tell you yet which one will win, and I guess it will depend on categories. But that's why I'm advising brands to work on both, because you don't know yet which one is going to win.
You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Either way. And how do you see like this, the industry evolving? Consumers, brands, retailers, LLMs.
Yeah.
Have you had to put a personal bet on it?
It's quite tough. The first thing is to think about the timelines, and I think 2025, I think is going to mature. Many announcements are for the end of this year, so we are going to be a little bit clearer about the solutions which are provided by the end of the year, and I think they are all heating up actually to be ready there, and I think we are going to see really behavioral change starting to see in 2026 with early adopters. From there, what is going to happen? It's quite difficult, but I would say all the mundane tasks, or most of them, are going to be reduced as much as possible. So I think that the shopper journey, at least online, is really going to start on these LLM, on these conversations. Now, are people going to fully automate their purchase and only do it partly? That's the question we will see. But I think also, according to the type of purchase, there are some purchases where you might have to look for information, but at the end of the day, you are not very interested by it. I will give you an example. If you take a TV screen, you would say, okay, it's a purchase on which you have to be careful because it's quite expensive.
And it's once in every 10 or 15 years as well.
But do people enjoy all the steps that they have taken to make this purchase, to find the information to make this purchase? I don't think so. I mean, the problem is they go to website, they find information which are very technical, difficult to understand and to digest. They go to a store, they are going to talk to someone who is slightly biased, obviously, because they want to sell you products and there are incentives to sell it a brand vs another one. So at the end of the day, they want to make their own. They want to understand really which is the best option for them. So LLMs there can play a big role, because they haven't biased so far, and they can provide you. They can really make the effort of looking at all the relevant information to actually help you making your decision. So I think if you see this in this way, or if you look, for example, at the weekly refill or bi-weekly refill on your food purchase, obviously there are a lot of ways to improve this experience for customers.
Yeah.
So I cannot believe that it's going to stay as a status quo as it is today. I think that these innovations are going to work. Now, what the shape exactly, this is something we have to see. I cannot predict exactly how it's going to work, but I'm pretty sure that the way people consume and purchase online is going to drastically change.
I think the big takeaway here for brands and for retailers even is like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, exactly.
And be prepared for change.
Yeah.
In one way or the other.
Exactly.
So thanks a lot, Gael. This was a lot of fun, very interesting. I mean, a lot to this grain here, a lot of challenges ahead for brands as well. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So I am. You have my LinkedIn site.
Yeah.
My LinkedIn address where you can reach out to me, and obviously I'm very happy to continue the conversation with anybody about this.
I think they'll see you in a lot of trade shows. I don't know if you have any specifically that you're going to in the next few months.
We are going to be in Vegas at
Grocery shop.
Yes, exactly. We are also doing several digital chef food and beverage in Europe, in London, in Amsterdam. So we are in many places actually. So very happy to continue conversation there with the customers.
Excellent. Well, worst case scenario, you'll continue it with me because I'll be at
Yes.
some of these shows as well. Well, thanks, Gael. Thanks
Thank
to
you
our
very much.
audience for tuning in again, and we'll see you in the next episode of the FMCG Guys every Wednesday and every Saturday. Have a great day. Bye.